Hey, so I wanted to do a little field trip today, a little reconnaissance, and look into something that I recently heard about with regard to proposed data center, mass data center being put up about a mile from my home as the crow flies. This information came to me within the last, I'd say, 48 hours, and it's concerning to say the least. So, without giving away too many details with regard to exactly where it is that I live, um, we'll say that this area that I'm standing in right now, which I'll show you in just a moment, this went into development. This area was being, I guess, renovated slash demolished or whatever. Started probably about estimating about 3 years ago. And my understanding was originally this land was intended for, I think they had said at one point, a community center, which I think we all knew was BS. Then it was something like maybe a warehouse, maybe an Amazon warehouse, something of that nature. But as it turns out, they want to put in a data center here. It's going to be 200 acres of land. It's going to be about 2 million square feet, spanning 8 separate buildings. And, of course, when these things come about, you never get a straight answer about what the purpose of the data center is, who owns it, who's going to construct it, who's going to take care of it, who's going to maintain it. You never get that information. So, these are like shell corps within shell corps and LLCs. It all trickles down into all this other kind of stuff. So you never really know who owns what, who's doing what. So there's a sense of anonymity there. But my understanding is, we know that it's going to be a data center. More than likely, it's going to be Amazon. I think that's the consensus at this point. That's unofficial. I don't have any verification of that, but the evidence strongly suggests that that's who's going to be putting this in. Now, regardless of who's putting this in, the community is not in favor of it. I'm not in favor of it. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, you've heard all the rhetoric, you've heard all the different reasons and stuff. I'm not going to go reciting everything that we already know. But I will tell you this. Let's turn around here because I'm going to show you where we're at. This land is basically in the middle of a rural community, and it is in between a tributary, I'd say tributary, but what would you call it? Where a river would bow around. They have a water source where they would be, right in the middle of where that water source wraps around. So of course they need water because they cool these things 24/7, right? So that bodes in their favor, of course. So this is an ideal place for them. The other thing being is that we're within almost a stone's throw distance of a nuclear power plant. When I say stone's throw, I mean like maybe a mile, maybe two. I didn't look on Google Maps or anything, but it's not very far. So far as them tapping into the grid, it's an ideal position for them to be in, and then they have their water that they can, tap into, whether it be the surrounding river. But this area, the infrastructure is good, the power grid's good, and everything like that. But there are other concerns. So, for instance, one thing, emergency response. This area doesn't really have it, and with regard to like what the needs would be for a data center that would have, earth metals and lithium batteries and all these other chemicals and things like this. Local volunteer fire departments are not trained or equipped to handle things like that, and that's not a slight on the fire department. That's simply saying a lot of these places are not equipped to handle this kind of stuff. But worse than all of that stuff is, if you look over that tree line there, that is state game land. It's literally a wildlife conservation area that is deemed necessary by the state for the preservation and procreation and control of wildlife, right? Like, they want to park this data center right next to that. You can see it from here. They're going to be next door neighbors. How is that even legal? I'm not asking that rhetorically. I want somebody to explain to me exactly why that is even permissible. To me, that's a non-starter. I don't understand how you can do it. And you can see, I'm surrounded by it. If I take a panoramic view right now, you can see this is all flora and fauna around here. But you know, they want their data center, you know, all 2 million square feet of it. It's disgusting. So here's what's going to happen. So my understanding is that the next public hearing on this is going to be in a few days. I'm going to be requesting party status in this hearing, because I think that, you know, for everybody that's going to go up and say that they're going to be speaking about a particular reason why this impacts their lives and things like this, of course it impacts mine too, but I think even more importantly than that, it impacts wildlife, impacts the environment itself, more than just humans. You know, and as cheesy as maybe that sounds to people, and as, you know, hippie, tree hugging, whatever you might want to call me, I think it's important that that be an aspect that's adequately represented here. So that's who I'm speaking for. You know, the animals, the trees, the water, the sky, because nobody speaks for that. Nobody comes out and says that's the reason. It's always kind of in this roundabout way. So I hope somebody's on board with me on this. I checked on Google Maps. As the crow flies, I live almost exactly 1 mile from the front door of my house to the very edge of where this data center is going to start. It's like 0.92 miles, right? So for all intents and purposes, rounding off, it's a mile. I'm within a mile. The other thing is, though, here's the deal. So I live in the direction behind me, and the wind comes from that direction. So I'm downwind from this thing too. Like I live in the direction where the, you know, the heat island and, you know, all the whatever RF radiation output, all that stuff, that's all coming my way. So yeah, on a personal level, I'm not happy about it either, but it just, to me, it's mind-boggling that we're even having this discussion when you have a wildlife, basically a wildlife conservatory right over there. It's like, how is this even being talked about? And again, what further compounds this is that this isn't the only data center they want to put around my home. I count a minimum of about 5 in my immediate vicinity, and possibly 2 to 3 others that are in the general area. So, I mean, outside of a 10-mile radius. But within about a 3-mile radius, they want to put in something like, I think, 3 to 4 of these, with another one on the outskirts of about 4 miles. But if you draw an X between all of those, it's like my house is like right in the middle. I live in the epicenter of data center town. So, and like you can see how this land has already been developed. They're already clearing the land out. They're sure that this thing's going through, right? You know, it's only a matter of time. So I would implore any of you, all of you, get involved in your communities. There's not been a single person who I've spoken to in my community who is even the least bit interested in seeing this thing go through. Not one. Not one. And I am not kidding you. Nobody's been like on the fence like, you know, maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah, data center, cool. Nobody, not one person. I can't find anybody to support this. Who the hell's in favor of this? Who wants this in their backyard? I know these tech bro billionaires don't want it in their backyard, because otherwise they would be developing their own land that they have to do this kind of stuff. They don't want to live near this stuff because they know the risks. Yeah, we've all seen Aaron Brockovich, right? So, you know, so let's just talk about it on the real. I mean, this is kind of the ridiculous stuff, you know. We've got to be more careful about who we put on these township boards too. I mean, that's going to be my question moving forward. I think whenever anybody wants to represent me in the local community, I'm going to ask, where do you stand on this issue? Are you going to overdevelop this? Are you going to listen to your constituents? Are you going to take action against these egregious offenses that are being put forth by these companies who don't have a vested interest other than economics? They don't care about our community. They certainly don't care about us. And goddamn, they don't care about the environment. Not one iota. And that is the very last thing on their list. It may not even be on their list, but I'm going to put it on their list. It will not be ignored. It will be a matter of public record. And yeah, this is not going to happen. They're not going to get their land for this. This is absolutely egregious. It's ridiculous. It's a waste of time, money, and ultimately it's just a detriment to everybody. So I hope you join me on this one. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. God bless.